Hi folks, S.L.Ager here, author of the Cadwaladr Quests, the 11 plus vocabulary novels and supporting workbooks. You can see those behind me there. I'd just like to say thanks to Saba, the founder of this group, the 11 plus journey, for inviting me here today to have a chat with you. The topic I'm going to cover today, excuse me, you might hear my dogs barking out there. The topic I'm going to cover today, because it's getting to that time of year again, we're now mid-July, um, is kind of last minute preparation tips and also tips for when you're in the 11 plus exam. So I have got notes in front of me because there's quite a few things to get through. So excuse my eyes going up and down. And I've split it up into the week before, the day and the night before, and on the day. And always, as a caveat, I like to say that this is just the experience that I had with my children. This is not set in stone. Lots of people will have different viewpoints. It's just my experience and my tips and what worked for us when we were preparing successfully for the 11 plus exams. And both of my children did the CEM test, so there was no creative writing in that test at that time. So the week before, every morning at breakfast, and we actually did this for a long time, not just the week before. And I actually did this with French vocabulary with my daughter for GCSE, and she said it really helped. They did a 10-minute non-verbal reasoning test every morning before breakfast, and it literally was just 10 minutes. And over several years, 2 years, that was the non-verbal reasoning pretty much done in our house. Both the kids took to non-verbal reasoning fairly easily, so it wasn't that arduous. If it had been me doing non-verbal reasoning, I probably would have needed to work on it more because I've got no spatial awareness. But 10 minutes at breakfast or after breakfast was enough for the non-verbal reasoning. Um, so study for a minimum of 30, minimum of 30 minutes and a maximum of 50, and then take a break. More than that, we felt was too much, and young kids struggle for longer than that. I see stories of some parents doing much, much more, and at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to you and your child what you do, but this is just what we did. But definitely, my kids would be spinning on their chairs, and when I do Zoom sessions with kids for, say, book clubs and things, I can see them lose focus after even 15 minutes. Even the kind of most engaged kids will start spinning because they've just got a different attention span. Okay, we did not hammer full tests over and over again because I lost the will to live. The kids lost the will to live. We chunked the test into pieces, and we only did full tests once, twice a week. So we chunked them. We took maybe the comprehension part and applied the time into it, the maths and applied the time into it. That's what worked for us. Definitely you need to do time tests the week before, but we didn't do more than 2 a week, I would say, but we still did 11 plus work. Again, your choice. I explained the marathon analogy to them, that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You peak on the day. A marathon runner does not run a marathon every day. They train to peak on the day, and that's what we did with the 11 plus, because burnout can happen quite easily. Try not to get too nervy, because obviously your nerves will show on your child. Yes, it's okay to explain to them that they might feel nervous and that everybody feels nervous in this situation. But obviously you're the adult, they're the child. So long as they know they're going to be nervy, but try not to show your anxiety if you're overly anxious. I truly believe that if the parent believes the child can pass, that goes almost like osmosis through the ether to the child. Parent belief will instill belief in the child. I told mine that I'm very much a growth mindset person, and I said that I believe there's no magic to passing the 11 plus or your driving test. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of luck involved, but success is when preparation meets opportunity, and failing to prepare is preparing to fail and all that stuff. So I don't think children should be told they're clever. I think they should be told that they're hardworking, and from hard work, they will reap the rewards. Um, and what I would say is, at the end of the day, read everything, listen to advice. Knowledge is power, but choose the advice that you feel works for your child, because you know your child better than anyone, especially at that age. They're not teenagers. They're really dependent on you at 9 and 10, and probably more so than we realize. Maybe not, but yeah, teenagers, minds of their own, but at that age, they're very much dependent on you to guide them, and your strength will be their strength. So the day and the night before, this is what we did. Oh, and just to mention, we had many tantrums and many tiaras, and I felt like giving up many times, especially as we got nearer, because there was just more tension. So the day and the night before, we did some work, but that's up to you how much you decide to do. I didn't overdo it. And also, I don't know whether there's going to be COVID delays this year, but I doubt it. So again, you'll need to kind of think about that one. Um, we actually didn't take a summer holiday, but obviously parents do, and some parents will be in a completely different camp. Again, it's your choice, but I felt so near the tests. Um, we wanted to keep momentum in our family. It's like, the guys who've just been preparing for the European champions. I doubt they went on a 2-week vacation just before they started. Maybe they did. I don't know, but it didn't work. That wouldn't have worked for us. Um, where am I? Yeah, we did lots and lots of outdoor exercise to physically tire them, so that they'd sleep well, because my daughter played tennis and she swam, so we kept all that going, um, so that there wasn't the anxiety at bedtime. Um, they they went to bed earlier, and we encouraged them to read more. So this is the day and the night before. So the night before, make sure everything's packed and by the front door. I wouldn't leave anything to the morning. Fill the car with petrol, know where you're parking, do a dummy run if you need to. Um, when your child goes in, tell them you're going to stay near the test centre if you think that will work for you, work for us. So it was different between my son and daughter. They're a bit like a cat and a dog. And with my daughter, I felt I had to keep the pressure right on her till the very end. Otherwise, she'd have taken her foot off the gas. That's just her nature. But the night before, I told her that I loved her, and that come what may, she must do her absolute best. And the gifts that we promised her, if she passed, were not gifts for passing. She was going to get them anyway because she'd worked hard. Um, and I reassured her that I felt that at that point, the night before the test, we'd done everything. There was nothing more we could do. And I genuinely felt that. I felt that for us as a family and her, we'd prepped enough. And I made sure she felt that. She got a dog for, I mean, we were going to get a dog anyway, but she got one for working hard for the 11 plus. And we told her at that point that no matter whether she passed or didn't get enough scores to get in, try not to use the word fail, she was getting her gift come what may. And also she had a shopping trip planned with her friend for straight after the test. So she had something to look forward to. Very summer baby, so she was very young, end of July birthday. So on the day, have a good breakfast. You know best. If they want Cocoa Pops, give them a banana as well, or something else that's going to be a slow release energy. I mean, avocado if they will. I don't know, but and make sure you've got everything they need: snacks, water, equipment. That's by the front door. And if it's chilly, because it's usually September, if it's an independent school, it's could be after Christmas. Make sure they've got something warm that they can take off. And I can't stress this enough. I'm just changing my notes over. Leave the house with plenty of time to spare, because if you get stuck in an accident or a traffic jam, or you get to the school and you see the queues round the corner when everybody's descending upon that school, especially our school in Reading, you know, there's nowhere to park and there's reams of children. You just want to quash that anxiety. And what I said to my kids as well was, imagine your nerves as a monkey, and there's a big box, and that monkey is on your back and he's making you all nervous and he's being really cheeky and you just want him out the way. Kick him off your back, put him in the box, sit on the box, and don't let him out until you've done the test. Because again, these kids are, you know, 9, 10. So things like that, if they've got something concrete that they can picture, rather than just trying to quash their nerves in their stomach, you know, picturing a monkey and sitting on him might just help. Tell your kids that once they're in the exam, don't let anything distract them. If a child cries, if a child's sick, if uh, hands go up, if one wheezes themselves, keep your heads down, keep working, don't look up, because if you look up, you're wasting such a lot of time. Read and listen to all the instructions carefully. In a mock, my son missed out an entire math section. Don't do that in the test. If you need to write your name and date of birth, get them right and put them in the right places. Keep a laser focus on both the papers, not just the first. So a child might be inclined to really work hard on the first test and think, oh, that was easy, and be a bit blasé on the second test. Or it could be the other way round. A child panics on the first paper and throws away the second. Teach them that it's like a game of two halves, like football. Sorry about the football analogies. England just lost on penalties last night. You know, if the first half's great, brilliant, replicate it for the second half. If the first half's rubbish, bin it, move on, and ace the second half. So make sure they understand all this. Dependent on the way you are answering, but if it's your normal kind of multiple choice answer, make sure they do that horizontal line, make sure they stay in the box. Before your child goes into the exam, make sure they've seen that familiarization paper many, many times and they know how to fill in their answers. Don't use the answer papers for workings out. Don't write anything on the answer paper. Use your question booklet for that. Read the questions carefully, okay? They are looking to catch you out on your reading skills right the way through the paper, okay? So, but particularly obviously in comprehension and sometimes the way synonyms and antonym questions are worded. Be careful. Time is tight. Don't panic or linger over one question. It's better to answer all 10 questions than just one question if you've got 10 questions in a section. Always eliminate. So if you've got multiple choice, eliminate to narrow down your odds of getting the answer right, especially if you don't know it. Short maths, again, eliminate, and sanity check. And what I mean by that is look at the question and look at the answer that you're going for. Is it a ridiculous answer that could never, ever be correct? So eliminate the wrong answers, then sanity check the answers that you are marking as correct. Yes, with long maths, so numerical reasoning, with stepped word questions, often if you get the first question wrong, the first part of a multi-step question wrong, then the chances are the rest of it will go wrong. And if it's being marked by a computer, you're not going to get any marks for workings or bits that you get right at a later stage. So always make sure when you do multi-step questions that your very first couple of steps are correct, because otherwise you're going to go wrong. If questions look hard, don't panic, play to your strengths, answer what you can and then go back. But stay within your section if you have to, because if you go back to an earlier section when you're not supposed to, or you jump forward, you might have your paper scrapped. This is multi-choice now. Actually, no, this is any. If you skip a question, circle it on the question sheet and go back to it when you've finished the section, but obviously stay in your section, okay? And go back before the buzzer goes. Make sure that your answers stay synchronized with your question paper. So my daughter got out of sync. You know, so in other words, she was answering question 1 in box 2, 3 in box 4, and vice versa. Luckily, she realized and went back and was able to replicate it. Don't scribble that out, rub it out, because if you scribble it out, the computer might not be able to mark your paper. You should be given time warnings on the recorded messages. Listen for those. And if you're running out of time, always make an educated guess. Okay. But if the buzzer goes and is about to go, so only if the buzzer goes and you're out of time and you've got blanks, just go in and fill your blanks with one letter. So don't go A, B, C, D, E, F. Go A, or B, 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 or C, 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 because then you're lessening your chances of randomizing the answer. Hope that makes sense. But only if the buzzer goes. If you've got time, always, always, always educated guess. So with most tests, once the buzzer's gone, you can't go back to a finished section. But just check your paper to see if you can do that. But with CEM and GL now, you usually can't. And also, if it's written in-house, then you must check the familiarization paper beforehand. Okay, like I said, don't miss out any sections. Jude did that in a mock, missed out an entire math section. Okay, so if you're good or you're very practiced at maths and non-verbal reasoning, you should be able to ace those papers on the day. You should be able to apply your strategies, your techniques to getting things right. But vocabulary, you need to have worked on that beforehand, because that's something that needs to be built up over time. So on the night before, don't stress too much about that, because if you haven't got the vocab, you're only going to scare your child. Let them feel confident. So vocab from this high. Upgrade your vocab at home. Okay, so for creative writing, my tip for that would be follow the brief exactly. If it says describe, describe. If it says continue the story, continue the story. If it says send a man to the moon, send a man to the moon. So many times I see creative writing moving away from the brief. Try and get in your literary devices, punctuation, your paragraphs, nice title case, vary your sentence openers, similes, onomatopoeia, you know, the usual stuff. Get those in and make sure that you're using the correct tone and style for whatever you've been asked to write. So, you know, you could be asked to write, I don't know, like a recipe or instructions, then make sure your child knows how to do that. Yeah, so a couple of years ago, the Berkshire test, a couple of the answers were wrong, and brave kids. I mean, I wouldn't have had the confidence to put my hand up at that age and say, I think that the questions are wrong. I would have thought it was me misunderstanding. So, tell your kids that if something looks wrong, or they feel ill, or they need to go to the toilet, or they're going to be sick, or whatever, that they must put their hands up and get the attention of one of the people, one of the invigilators in the room, because you know that those children who put their hands up were right about that paper. So I think that's all the tips I have. There are probably some that I've missed out. You're probably thinking, why has she not mentioned this? This is so obvious. If I have missed something out that's critical, please drop me a note in the chat comments here below, because I'd like to know. I'm always happy to be corrected. I'm always happy to learn. And yeah, just I don't like to say best of luck, but I mean there is some luck involved on the day. What I like to say is all the best to all the children sitting exams everywhere, not just the 11 plus, GCSEs, A levels, whatever they're sitting. So thanks again to Saba for inviting me to talk to you in the group, and thanks for founding such a lovely and friendly 11 plus journey group. Bye guys, thanks.